everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing more of the Omniscience Combo. We're right outside of Mythic, and we're going to see if we can't ride this deck into Mythic. Spoiler alert, we do get there, but how well can we do it, and how good is this combo really at kind of the higher levels to get you into that top that top tier rank, I guess you would say. But yeah, if you don't know what this combo is and you somehow have been lucky enough not to see it on the ladder, essentially what we do is we play discard effects like Chart of Course, Archaeologist to mill over cards, not necessarily discard, or Oracle and Moment of Truth to put an Omniscience in our graveyard some way or another. Omniscience saying you may cast cards from your hand without paying their mana cost, so essentially they are all free. And we are using a card, Abuelo's Awakening. Return target artifact or non-or enchantment card from our graveyard to the battlefield with X additional 1/1 counters on it. It's a 1/1 spirit creature with flying in addition to its other types. So all we have to actually do is spend 4 mana. We bring an Omniscience back from our graveyard onto the battlefield as a 1/1 creature for essentially free, comparatively to how expensive this card actually is. 4 mana over 10 mana is obviously a big difference. And then we're doing anything we can to find an invasion to put into play. And this has a lot of different type of combos you can do with it. The fastest technical combo, I believe, is to cast Unnerving Grasp. This you only need 1, so return up to 1 target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. We return the invasion back to our hand, recast it, grab the grasp from our graveyard, return this back to our hand, and do that cycle over and over again. This is a loop in of itself, where we get to make 2/2s over and over and over again. And then on roughly the 7th or 8th cycle, we go into our sideboard again, and then we grab Heroic Reinforcements, which then creates 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens, and then our creatures gain haste. Other kind of combo, which I did last time, was kind of the same thing with Haunt and this town, which is another way you can kind of do the combo. And then at the end, you can also grab that Heroic Reinforcements out as well. And then if you have 2 invasions, because then you can play 1, grab this town, play another one, and do whatever. And oftentimes that matters if there's like a Rest in Peace in play or something like that. We can use this town ain't big enough to pick up the invasion, make them pick up their Rest in Peace. We will lose to this town ain't big enough, but then we can go back into the grass portion of it and then win that way as well. Outside of that, we are good to go. We're going to go ahead and dive into the game, see how they go. Outside of that, even, I will be very busy this weekend. The Apex Invitational, not the Invitational itself, but the first Invitational event qualifier is happening this weekend. We have a lot of RCQs and qualifications for a $20,000 tournament. If you win this event, you get to qualify for that. It'll be happening. It is a paper event happening at Apex Gaming. If you're all interested at all of ever coming by and playing in one of those, we'll be doing Standard this Saturday, and then we'll be doing Modern Sunday, both starting at 11 o'clock EST if you're interested. If you're not necessarily ever interested in playing and maybe you're too far away, you can always feel free to check out the live stream that will be happening on Twitch, and then on their YouTube channel, they'll be putting the VODs up later, most likely that Monday or something like that. But yeah, we'll be live on Twitch at Apex Gaming. You can find us in the Magic the Gathering channel. Most of the time, we do float roughly more to the top because it is live paper Magic. We have commentators and everything like that, and a whole production going on. So if you're interested in seeing some live paper Magic, you'll be able to do that this weekend, and it will be quite a long event, so you can check in at roughly any point of the day. These events typically take 8 to 9 to 10 hours to do, depending on kind of what the meta is. Domain oftentimes slows it down a bit. And Modern, a lot of times it was 4-color control, but if you've played Modern at all, we know 4-color control is not the best deck in that format. But with that said, let's go ahead and dive into our games and see how well this deck can truly do when uninterrupted on the ladder. Yeah, right. I mean, we have to keep this. We have a Chart of Course with Omniscience in hand and Invasion ready to go. I feel like everything's looking up with this hand outside of our mana and obviously our Reanimate spell, but not gonna have everything a lot of times. You just have to kind of hope you find what we're looking for, which we do against mono red. I mean, the thing is, if we find land and live, we win. Living is now not a given. Okay, that helps. Do I have to just go for a land? The temporary lockdown's so good, but I think it's just land or bust at this point, right? Maybe. Lock one of these. We just hope they tap out is all we are really hoping for. A tap out and us to not lose the game. Ooh, so they may have a lightning strike. Ooh, they have the answer, huh? But I have the counter spell, so welcome to the fact that it doesn't matter. Omniscience. Here. There's like, look, I kept up an interaction spell so I could deal with the Omniscience. 0. Counter unless they pay 4. Would like to counter that. We did everything right. Search our sideboard. It doesn't matter because I have 2 copies, so I'm just going to do the haunt combo because I want to do it that way. Do this. Go to the sideboard. Do sideboard. And then we grab this town. I don't know what the technical fastest way to do this is. Some people said it's unraveling in the other card. I don't know. I'm just doing it this way because the way I know for a fact, I don't want to have to fumble through it the other way. But I believe if you have 1 copy, you're supposed to grab the unraveling and then target this. You manifest dread 2, and then you do that. You do that over and over and over and over again on 1 copy until you get to like what you only need, because they do plus. It gives it +1/+1 in haste and also makes things. So you only need like 7 of them to deal 21. So you don't have to do it 7 times. So it is technically probably faster than doing that loop, but in the grand scheme of it, it doesn't really matter at all. Thankfully, our hand's fine, but I definitely was clicking onto the screen. I didn't even know if I went first or second. I just clicked onto the screen, and I accidentally, without paying attention, clicked right on the keep hand section. We keep Moment of Truth up. We do it. We disguise our hand for as long as we can. We pretend like we're something that we may or may not be. Storm Chasers, sure. Our Esper picks the opponent. Sure. Moment. We take that one. Graveyard that one. Put that one in the deck. Maybe not the most fun hand I've ever experienced. I'm gonna play this Oracle. That one. Last one. Auto pass. Probably should click the auto pass button too again, but this town ain't big enough is a card I have to deal with. Momentum is a card that they could play. My Oracle, unfortunately. It's hit with a go for the throat? Sure. I will gladly take a draw card, discard a card. We'll need a second copy of that. Sure. Alright. Awesome. Oracle. I'll discard. Omniscience. Although, here's the big issue. We don't have the battle, and Riddle might have to be used as a counter spell. Although that does give us extra looks, right? But it's temporary lockdown and just like play it a bit slower. Probably, right? Yeah, let's do that. Town will not be able to be used. They could use it now, I guess. So my temporary lockdown just won't work. Okay. Is anybody gonna tell him? Here. We will pass this up. Just pretend like we don't have this, even though we discarded one earlier. Just lie about that. Really just trying to find our battle here. The thing is, if they would have just bounced their, I don't know, Storm Chasers in my temporary lockdown, they could have kept everything in play and then dealt a lot of damage here. So it was kind of like, whatever. The main issue being, like, for them, the main issue being the fact that I would then have a temporary lockdown again. I'll put this in my hand. Graveyard that. Do that. Again. Okay, that should be enough to do it. They could have double cut down, which would be tough. I don't think they will, but they could. And I can't pay enough into this anyway. Omniscience. I would like to start with a stock up. When they try to remove this for the second game in a row, we will Confounding Riddle. For free. Be very careful to make sure you select the right spell. That's the thing about playing these combo decks, is there's so much stuff that happens. I always want to make sure that I don't mess it up. Yeah, sure. Got a lot of looks. We just have to find it. Just had to find it. Okay. Do this. Sure. I'd much rather be able to grab that Chart of Course and dig 2 cards deeper for free. This spot. Okay, discard this. And then I believe I can do it the easy combo route. So I'll show you this game. Unfortunately, okay, I won't show you. They were just waiting for me to find the invasion, which is fair. Typically, once you find the invasion, the game's over. I kept making the mistake in the last one. Even here, I can just grab the Beseech and then go grab a second one if I need to or whatever. It's all kind of whatever in general. But, cool. All right, going first, if it's aggro, we have a flawless hand for it. We don't have any piece of the puzzle, but we have ways to definitely put it in the graveyard if we find it, or ways to get it in our hand if it's the other way. Let's just show them right away. We see blue-black. We're not really sure what that means, but we have our theories. Don't worry, opponent. You don't know what we're playing. What are we playing, team? What's my opponent playing? The Deep Cavern Bat? You don't mean that. Mill. Okay. Now, this deck will have exile effects. Unfortunately, we miss. We could have, I guess, bounced this back to our hand. You think they're going to do this? I feel like this is a good matchup, but it's also a horrible matchup. Because cards like Deadly Cover-Up exist. Here. I would like to, at the end of that combat, bounce that. But now I might as well wait. Hey, Omniscience. Hey, Omniscience. Now, could they play the 4-mana card and exile it? Probably. There is a 4-mana, like, surgical extraction card that could do it. Deadly Cover-Up is obviously an option as well. Cool Vraska sleeves. This is the anime art from War of the Spark, I believe, when they kind of did that for the first time. Sure. These don't really matter now because we have Omniscience in the graveyard. So our mana efficiency doesn't matter too much. Especially with the stock up coming up. Yeah, just unfortunate, that's for sure. Our opponent cast stock up after being a mill deck and realizing we're probably the anti-them without them having the surgical stuff up, but cool. I don't know, man. Sure. This is actually probably an awful hand to keep because these are just dead. But the amount of hopeless nightmares I've been playing against today, like, it might be fine. Although, we're against the mirror. No, we're... What? Exile target artifact or creature and opponent whose vehicle leaves the battlefield? Wait, I don't know. They just put a gain lifeland. I will put a stock up in my hand. I'll put this in my graveyard and I'll put that somewhere. Who's gonna tell him? Who's gonna tell him when this Omniscience comes back, if I ever find a reanimate spell, that I'm gonna put 2 more Omniscience in play? Yeah. Right. Got the mana, we just don't keep any lands anywhere. Yeah, sure. I like winning. Like, hey, I like winning. We're gonna protect ourselves a bit. We're allowed to. I'll grab that. We'll cast. We have to survive 2 turns, and Scamp has notoriously been good at removing players from the game. So hopefully we're fine. Second Scamp. You get that's that monster rage. A temporary lockdown make me very happy. Unfortunate. Human. Oh, what a draw. I mean, you couldn't write it any better than that. Now, obviously, we don't have, like, the reanimate spell. But based on how this game is gone, we're just a turn away. Or a temporary lockdown would also just win this game. Whatever they target with any spell here, I'm putting back in their hand. Ounce. Look. That's probably fine, right? Although I would love to surveil, but I just don't think I can. Let's do human here. And then we pass. Our main game plan is to do this for 4 to try to find it. Even a temporary lockdown, I feel, has to be able to win this game, right? One damage to each opponent and each creature they control. Okay, sure. Yeah. Going for the commitment again. Oh, sure. Scamp is whatever this time around. Gonna bounce this. Okay. And that'll do it. Solve all. Just like that, team, it's game. Knowing mono red, they'll force us to do it, so. Sure. Uh-huh. Yeah. Phase 0, confirm, Omniscience. And then I can, yeah, I didn't figure they were gonna let us. But sure, cool. We got one more game and we're Mythic and we can call her a day. I had a blast, thank you. Well, we've kept hands like this already, and we will keep this one as well. The main reason why we've kept hands with Omniscience is because Hopeless Nightmare is just such a prevalent card in our meta right now. human end. Just looking for lands here. Opponent reveals a hand and choose a non-land card from exile. Okay. We're gonna do this. Interesting. Put that in hand. I'll put this graveyard and this in the bottom. Overload my hand. Just give me everything. This is obviously gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt pretty bad. Being one game out and playing against the kind of targeted hand disruption sucks. It's crazy. This was 6 years ago. I don't know when it actually took place in 2019, but it was forever ago. Sure. I do play basics. Okay. I will do a blue. Take this action. We will grab a blue. Interesting choice. We have to put this in our hand. In hand. Discard. Stock up. Hand. Hand. I don't know why I even looked at that. We needed land. Sure. I'll just mill it over, I guess. For some reason I thought I would need it, but I actually need a confounding riddle. So it's actually... No, I don't. I just have second omniscience. Yeah, it's like whatever. I don't know. I'm just doing stuff at random at this point. Sure. We still only need one copy of this. They could have my confounding riddle, I guess. Now. I didn't really think about that, but they hit my riddle. That would have been, honestly, thickest thing if they would have hit the riddle. Okay, well, we had it covered. Nice. And just like that, that is Mythic, and I don't even... Did I really even play that great? I don't think so. Some decks, it just doesn't matter. And this, I think, happens to be one of them. Thank you, Constructed Conqueror. That means I hit Mythic, team. But, oh, we got a hurl in the history. But just in general, you can see what I named it, because there's a BNR Monday. It's just one of those decks, and best of one, that it's so hard to prep for, that you just, like, oftentimes have to go, you know what, if I lose to it, I lose to it. I'm not going to build my deck to play Graveyard Hate to run in the mono red, right? Because mono red and Boros and all those are significantly more popular than this deck. But this deck is just popular enough that it's super annoying. I do know a lot of people actually, even though it wouldn't stop this deck, I do know there's been a lot of talk about this card going. And my opinion when it comes to Monday in the BNR is we have a lot to the year left, obviously, before cards rotate out of standard, which Invasion will. So realistically, this deck is only here until the end of the year. So I know that's a long time, but in Magic terms, it's not that long. But the thing is that I think about whenever it comes to standard, cards that can just go would really only be, for me, cards to freshen the format a bit, because the format has been such the same thing over and over again. For example, I think this town going would not be bad. I think Up the Beanstalk wouldn't be bad. Not that I think they're so overly broken that they need to go. I just think that if you're trying to freshen up the format, I think those are good options to start with. Just because, obviously, everybody everybody sat down, got hit with the Hopeless Nightmare, played a Pixie, Hopeless Nightmare you again. We play a permanent. This town pick up the Hopeless Nightmare, pick up your permanent, time walk you for a turn. And then you go, okay, cool. And then they go Hopeless Nightmare, Fear of Isolation, pick it back up. And you're like, cool, I'll play later. I'll just play the game later. It's obviously not that fun. I know I've seen a couple people who've been playing Arena on their phone, and that happened. They just shut it off. They literally just close their phone and put their phone down, and they're like, I'm good. Like, I'm not. No. and I can't even be mad. I totally get it whenever that happens. And does this deck fit in that category? Almost, to an extent. It's just that weird, like, it's just when a combo deck's good that it's always so hard to justify whether you should ban it or not. Definitely in best of 3, there's no way you should ban this. But in best of 1, I could see, like, maybe an overreaction to it just because it's so prevalent in best of 1. And I feel like this combo is, like, Delirium cannot beat this deck if you, at any reason, have the combo at all. Obviously, sometimes you have to look for it because you do need Omniscience, Awakening, Invasion, but realistically, you need these two, and you could probably find this with all the cards in our deck. Other than that, it's just so hard to kind of keep up with and beat. Even against Mono Red that we played today, we played against Mono Red today, they were not fast enough when we put in Omniscience. They kept up a removal spell, and I just countered it and then went on about my day and comboed them. It's just kind of wild in general. I understand the frustration with this deck for sure. But with that said, I'm not going to gripe too much. I will say, again, I think I'll bring it up in the intro. It's the Apex first invitational con this weekend, so I'll be quite busy when it comes to this weekend. I might be a little more on edge and stressed out because they're really long days. I get there at 9. I leave at like 10. I know that sounds like, oh, it's an hour. No, it's 13. I'm doing 13. We will be streaming it live on Twitch at Apex Gaming. MTG, maybe? I don't remember exactly what it is, but I'll make a post about it. But we're playing Standard tomorrow. It will start at 11 o'clock EST, Eastern Standard Time. And then it will go for roughly all day. It'll most likely be a 5 to 6 rounder with a top 8 cut for 3 more rounds. It'll all be done in one day. And then following next day, Sunday, we will then have a modern tournament EST of 11 o'clock as well. Unfortunately, with our programming and scheduling with Wizards in general, we couldn't change the date of this event. If you've watched Modern at all, they're in, like, to put it bluntly, they're in hell. They are playing against Underworld Breach all day. Like, that's all that people are doing in that format if they're trying to, like, truly win. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed the video in general regardless, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.